Let me just first share my screen and then, okay, can somebody confirm you're able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, wonderful. So welcome. So we are going to talk about something very interesting and very niche, that is the AI product management for technology leaders as well as practitioners. Now, this particular area, that is AI product management, is very new. When I say very new, this came into prominence around 1 year back, and that was the time when I gave my first webinar around, if I remember right, April of 2024. That was very, very much emerging at that point of time. A lot of water has flown under the bridge, and this particular role or this particular area, if anybody is interested to pursue that, it is a good, idea to get into this space, and you have a career for the next 10 years. So what is this AI product management is all about, and what is the advanced aspects in the AI product management? This seminar or this webinar will help you understand what it is, what should be done, what should be learned, how do I go about the upskilling for this, and what is the future when you pursue this career, and what are the skill sets, and what is the mindset that you need to be successful as a AI product management in AI product management as a AI product manager. So I am going to talk about the entire building and scaling of AI powered products and why a AI product manager plays a very, very critical role in any organization that has either machine learning operations or generative AI operations as part of their offering. So any organization you take now or in future, if they are working on Gen AI products or they are working on machine learning products, it is absolutely imperative that a product manager role plays a very active role in ensuring that. Can somebody go on mute, please? I'm hearing. Thank you. So the product management, AI product manager role becomes very, very critical. Uh, can somebody go on mute? I'm hearing a lot of disturbance. I think somebody's all right.
We can't hear anything. I can't hear anything now.
I think you're on mute.
Is it okay now? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you lose it from the beginning or did you lose it just now?
Just a 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Okay, fine. So you're able to see the screen. Let me just do a cross verification again. You're able to see
Yeah.
the screen, right? Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was trying to tell you is that you will understand what this role is. You will understand what are the skill sets and mindset that you need to have to successfully thrive in this role as you move forward. Because as I told you that AI product manager is a new role that has now been created within the industry, catering to the needs of AI products. When I say AI products, it has both. That is the machine learning products and the Gen AI products. So we'll talk about that and we'll end it up with Q&A as usual. I'll open up half an hour or 40 minutes before. Ask all your questions that you have on the content or on your career progression or any questions you have on AI product manager as part of this webinar. Okay. With that, I will go with this. So how do you understand AI technology types? This is the first thing all of you need to know. Currently in the industry, there are three technologies that are in trend. What are they? Generative AI, machine learning, and agentic AI. Now, if you look at these three, The first was machine learning that was there from long time. Machine learning is not something new. It was already there for the last 10 years, 15 years, very actively known as data science. 2022-23, when ChatGPT came into picture, it gave rise to a new area or a new field or a new niche that is the generative AI, which we all know. Now we have something called as agentic AI. Agentic AI is nothing but taking the generative AI to the next step forward, and each of the tasks that needs to be executed within the workflow of a software will be now run by autonomous independent agents. So that is agentic AI. So running tasks autonomously using an agent is agentic AI. So if you look at these three, it starts with machine learning. It graduated from machine learning to generative AI, and from generative AI, it has now graduated to agentic AI, which means all the products that are going to be that are going to be created now and in future will lie in all of these three, a combination of one or two, or maybe even a combination of all of the three. In other words, a product manager, a AI product manager, has to really understand all these three technologies together. It is actually a natural progression from machine learning to generative AI and to agentic AI. So you, as an AI product manager, tomorrow, if you're attending an interview or you're looking for a role in AI product manager, it is absolutely imperative that you need to understand all these three. Now, when I say all these three, you may be getting a question in your mind. It's too much of an ask. It is actually not, because you know machine learning, then generative AI is the next level extension of that, a superset. You know generative AI, you know machine learning, the agentic AI is a superset of that. So the learning that you are going to undergo is incremental. So it is not three different areas which are coming together and which are merging. And then you say, okay, if I have to be a AI product manager, Ramon said I need to be good in all the three. Obviously, all the three, but they are not three separate disciplines. They are all intersecting, they are all converging, and they are all part of the same group with an extension. So you, if you want to make a career, you got to be good at all the three and understand all the three. That is what is the requirement for a AI product manager, because your AI product, your AI product will have a combination of all these three technologies. So if you have to manage such product, if you are taken up a responsible role in an organization managing AI product, so all the more reason you need to know all these three. Now, generally in my workshops, when I do workshops for product managers, I have done recently for 2, 3 large companies. One of the questions the product managers ask me is, Ram, you're talking about technology. We are product managers. We only manage the products. Why do you think I should learn the technology? My answer is very clear. You need to be technically fluent, not a technical expert. Understand the difference between these two terms: technical fluency and technical expertise. As a AI product manager, you are supposed to have technological fluency in the products that you are supporting. It doesn't mean you need to be an expert. Now, you have data scientists in your organization, you have machine learning developers, you have database administrators, and you have front-end UX, UI developers, designers, etc. You, as a AI product manager, has to take all of them together, because at the end of the day, you are accountable and you are responsible for the product development. Your job as a AI product manager will be only successful if you are able to manage the product life cycle from 0 to 100, release the product to the customer, and your customers are using that product, and your company is getting revenue from that product. Very simple. So the entire life cycle of AI product management, right from designing a POC, creating a MVP, and then actually releasing the product in the market, and your customers using the product, the entire thing responsibility lies with one person, the AI product manager. So when you have that responsibility, or when you are aspiring for a career in a AI product management role, all the more reason you should be aware of all the technological interplays that happen within the life cycle. You don't have to be a expert data scientist. You don't have to be a machine learning developer. You don't have to be a UX designer in detail. You are not going to install, you are not going to configure, you are not going to troubleshoot, you are not going to deploy. But you are responsible overall for the entire product, which means all of you need to be technically proficient, fluent, and need not be an expert, because if you're handling team of data scientists, machine learning engineers, etc., they will take you for a ride. They will take you for a wonderful ride when they come to know that you are not technically fluent. So as a AI product manager, you are supposed to be technically fluent to the extent that you should understand the entire life cycle, and you should understand how this technology works, how is the interplay between different aspects of the technology, how the systems design is done, and how you are going to ensure that this product is released in the market. So you should have a broad skill sets rather than a deep skill sets. And if you want to have a broad skill set, you should know a little bit of everything in the life cycle. That is what is I mean by technical fluency for AI product managers. So these are the three things that you need to know. So that means you need to know a bit of Gen AI, you need to know a bit of machine learning, and you need to know a bit of agentic AI, and you also need to know how they interact with each other. Next. How is the market? Now, I have been talking about AI product management. It's a new role and all that. So let us look at the market first. Look at the screen. I'll just make it a little shorter so that you can see the entire thing. Yeah. So look at the screen. So if you have 2025, the growth in the AI first applications is increased to 87%. The infrastructure investment is gone to $156 billion, the global spending on AI infrastructure. And the large language models, ops or the life cycle adoption has increased by 340%. This is a very important insight for you. So when 87% of the products that are being developed or that are going to be developed in future are AI native products, meaning products that are fully AI driven, then it's all the more reason you need to understand what is AI product management. And look at the investment, $156 billion only in 2025. And the adoption rate in companies is around 340% at this point of time. Take all three into consideration. The current product managers, again I'm using it, the current product managers who are working in various organizations in different roles, they also need to upskill or upgrade very fast because their roles are getting obsolete. Their roles are getting obsolete and they are supposed to migrate or graduate to the next level role, that is the AI product managers. So if you are a new or aspiring AI product manager, or if you're already a AI product manager who are working in many products, many organizations, you have experience, there is no respite. You also have to upgrade. So the upgradation to Gen AI, agentic AI is not optional anymore. It is mandatory because if you look at the way industry is moving, any company, every company for that matter, are integrating AI into their workflows, integrating AI into their decision making, integrating AI into their products. So if AI is getting integrated into the products, into the decision making, your product managers or the company's product managers, all the more reason they need to be able to manage the entire life cycle. So they should have enough information, enough skill sets, enough knowledge, enough upgradation to understand how to manage a AI product. Now, so we looked at what are the technical things previously, and I have also shown you what is the market and where it is moving. So this is for
Hopefully they'll
20.
do. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. No.
Sorry. Yeah. So that's where it is. We are standing now. Let us understand the difference between AI first versus AI enhanced products. So what is the difference between traditional software and AI native software? This is something all of you need to understand. Existing products which are there, if you put AI into the mix, it becomes AI enhanced products. They are not AI products. You are using a product, you are using an app, you are using a website for your business. You added a AI assistant or a chatbot to that website. That is not a AI product. Remember the difference. That is just an enhancement you have done to the current products. There is a big confusion in the industry. There is a big confusion in the market. People think AI product managers are those product managers who, in their current products that you are using, they have added a bit of AI and then they are using it. Like I gave an example, you have a website, you have an app, and you have now put in a chat bot into that one. Then you will proudly say that I am a AI product manager because in my product AI has been integrated, so I'm using it. But to be real, that is not the AI product manager. That is a AI enhanced product. Your AI first or AI native product is a product that is completely built on AI. It is not a attached enhancement to an already available product. The already available product would have been just a DevOps or a DevSecOps product. There is no machine learning models. There is no algorithms. There is no data which is getting fed into the pipeline using the machine learning algorithms. No, because that is only an enhancement. Here, when I talk about a AI first product, the product itself is AI. That is, this product itself is a machine learning. Product itself has data. Product itself has algorithms, and it is generating outcomes for the user. So if you want to be a AI product manager, you need to be in the second, not in the first. That is a big perception problem that people have in the industry. And in all the workshops, I keep telling them, and then they realize, oh, yes, sir, you are right. It is not about enhancing a product with a little bit of AI and say, I am a AI product manager. No, because there is no machine learning algorithm that is being used as part of that. This is very important. So what we discussed till now, we understood what is the technology, what is required. We also understood what is the market at this point of time. And we also understood what is the difference between an AI first and an AI enhanced product. So you should always aim for an AI first product. That is what is be your role for the next 10 years in your career be. Now, what is the business model for this transformation? As a AI product manager, you need to understand the business model. If you do not understand the business model, you will not be able to successfully develop, deploy, and launch the product successfully for your company. So previously we had traditional SaaS, software as a service, typically data plus applications which are there part of that. So there we had a fixed feature and the pricing was based on subscription. We all know that. Let us take an example of Netflix. Now, all of you must be having Amazon Prime or Netflix subscription. So you have the basic subscription, you have the premium subscription, etc. So that was the old way of business model, subscription based pricing. But With AI as a service, with AI products, it is becoming usage-based pricing. It is not about a free user or a freemium user or a premium user, etc. And the costing or the pricing is based on that. No. With AI products, the business model is changing. And when the business model changes, the subscription model also will change. So purely based on usage, you have to charge the customer. Third one is that outcome based, that is pay for results, not for access. In the previous products which we talked about, 2023 before, you paid for the product for the access and the features. Remember, if you had a Amazon Prime or if you have a Netflix account with you, you are not paying for the dynamic usage. Okay, you watch 2 movies, it will bill for 2 movies. No, you are paying for subscription. You either be in a free model, basic model, some freemium model, or the premium model. It's a one-time pay for 1 year or whatever it is. You can watch endless number of movies. There is no limit for that. That was the older way of subscription pricing. With AI products, you pay for results, not for access. So as a product manager, you should very clearly understand the business model, because when your team develops the product and when the product goes into the market, you are representing a company, you sell the product into the market, your sales team has done it. Now the product manager has to generate revenue from the product, right? People who develop products, companies who develop apps, companies who develop products, do you think they are developing product just like that? No. End of the day, we need money. We need revenue. So you as a product manager for AI, you need to understand the older business models do not apply to the current AI products which are there and the upcoming AI products which are going to hit the market. So this is something which you need to understand. So you have to price your customer based on outcomes. For example, if you're using ChatGPT, you should be able to charge the customer based on the number of queries you are asking on the ChatGPT, not the user. That is going to happen very soon into the future. I don't know whether you have seen, if you go to Claude, any of these LLMs or Gemini or any of the LLMs, after a few questions you give, after a few interactions you have, it will say your number of queries have reached the maximum. You can always give the query after another 1 hour or 2 hours or whatever it is. I'm talking about the free model. So you are actually putting a rate limit there. So tomorrow you develop a AI product. As a product manager of a AI product, you should know how you charge the customer. It should not be based purely on the access, because your user may be extracting a lot of information from your product. So if you charge very less, then you will never survive in the market. It is not about creating the products on a ego. It doesn't work like that. When you create a product, when you release it into the market, you have to get revenues out of that. That is the ultimate barometer of your success of a AI product. So business model transformation is a very clear thing, challenge that any AI product manager feels. So you need to understand this. Now, what else? How do you actually build the AI portfolio strategy? So you do 3 things here. You build proprietary software, you buy commercial, and you integrate open source. This is another very important decision that the AI product manager has to make. Remember, if you are developing an AI product, you can either build, either I can make, or you can buy. Whether you want to build the product from ground zero within your company, or whether you want to buy the product because a similar LLM is already available in the market, or you can use an open source software and do that. Now, which one is best? I don't have an answer. It clearly depends on your organization, the business that you are in, and what kind of a product which you want to develop. If you are using for commercial purposes, then open source software will not help. Or even if it helps, you will not have any support or service for that product. Let us say you wanted to develop a AI product. You decided that I want to use a LLM. Now I don't want to buy an LLM because it's very expensive. So what is the next option? I will go for an open source. What is the next option? I will have the LLM built from ground zero within my organization. If you want to build a LLM within your organization, it will take a lot of time because you need to hire developers, you need to put money. There is a project going on. It will run through its own timeline. So that may not be feasible. Buying a commercial product in the market, yeah, that is the quickest. It's like buying a product in Amazon. You go and you buy. You can't be manufacturing all the products that you require for your daily life, right? So you take it from the off-the-shelf commercial, or you can do a open source software and build a POC. But if you build a open source software and build a product, you will not be able to commercially sell that one. So as a product manager, your company as a AI product manager, your company will depend on you to take a decision or to advise the company as to whether I'm going to build, whether I'm going to buy, or whether I'm going to make. When I say make here, you use something which is already there in the open source, or on top of the open source, you make your product, whatever changes you want to do on top of that. So this is a very critical decision as a AI product manager you have to take if you have taken up this role, because the organization will look at you and you have to actually calculate the checks and balances. What are the pros and cons? Which one to do? Okay. In real world, it is not as easy as saying build, buy, or make. Sometimes you have to use a combination of that. The academic world will tell you for a AI product, either you can make, or you can build, or you can buy. But in reality, ask me, I will tell you. You'll have to use a combination of all the three sometimes, or two, or one, or maybe a combination of that. So some part will be building in-house, some part you are buying from outside, some part you are using from open source to develop a POC or a demo. But open source should not be used for commercial purposes. Of course, some open source can be used for commercial purposes where you have to pay some fee to the open source community or the consortium. But this is a complex navigation maze that you need to handle. So you as a AI product manager have to be very, very clear as to what combination, in which percentage, and how you want to do this. That is your AI portfolio strategy. Build proprietary one, buy a commercial one, or integrate it from the open source one. Next, what does the product manager do next? See here, you have to develop the roadmap. Now, this is a very important thing which you need to do. So when you say develop the roadmap, you have to ensure that all these things are there. What is your current horizon? 0 to 6, 1 to 0 to 6 months, 18 plus months, 6 to 18 months. So you'll have to have a proper roadmap created. What features will be there in the first 6 months? What features you need to add in the next second horizon? And what features and what capabilities you need to add? So you're actually doing a project management here. You'll have to create the project plan, assign the resources, ensure that the project or the product development life cycle is running on time, list out all the things that needs to be there in each phase, ensure the deliverables are met. If there is a delay, how do you organize and manage the delay? How do you ensure that the delays are shortened? All these are the roles that you need to play. For example, see here, the first horizon is experiments. You're experimenting with a new product. The second horizon is features. So you're developing features and then you're releasing to the customer to test. The third horizon is you're developing capabilities. So finally, after developing capabilities, you're releasing to the customer. So the entire roadmap planning has to be done and you'll have to manage all this end to end. So it's a big role. It is a very fulfilling role. It is a role which offers a very good industry salary in the market. But the challenges that come with this role are immense. So people who are interested to take up challenges, who work on complex product development, you should be good in managing people as well. You don't have to be a manager, but when you become a product manager and when you're not a people manager and when you're a product manager, you still have to work with people because at the end of the day, projects or products are all about people. So how do you work as a team? How do you ensure you take everybody together? How do you ensure the company's objectives are met on time? How do you handle escalations? How do you handle problems? How do you handle incidents? All this come under the roadmap of AI product management for a product manager. Everything should be mapped as part of your roadmap. What else you do? You also do something called a discovery process. So you as a product manager has to identify or discover what is the problem. Problem identification, it sounds very simple as a word, but it is very difficult to identify a problem. And it is furthermore difficult to actually articulate your problem properly. So putting the customer's pain points, putting the customer's actual issues and actually putting it on paper, putting it in points, giving what are the requirements that the customer need is the first step for identifying a problem. Your product will not be successful in the market if you don't know what problem that. Hello, can somebody go on mute, please? I'm hearing a lot of disturbance. Kindly go on mute. Okay, thank you. So identifying what the business wants or what your customers want is the first important step of your problem identification. It sounds very easy, but it is not. Then you will have to actually solution the mapping. You have to ensure that the capabilities of AI is mapped to the problem points which has been mentioned. And then you will have to first develop a prototype. You develop a prototype with minimum viable features and then you give it for users to test. If the prototype is successful, if the test is successful, then you add more features to it and take it forward. This is how AI product manager has to do. Start his work with discovery or identifying the problem, clearly articulating the problem, listing out all the problem areas that the customer is facing, the pain points, and then you actually map that particular pain points with the AI solutions which AI can offer, and then you will have to develop the prototype. Then your developers will come into picture. The requirements have to be captured very carefully. Remember, if you do not capture the requirements carefully, then what is going to happen is that your developers will develop a product which your customer does not want. And that is pretty dangerous because you're losing money, you're losing time, there's a lot of effort, a lot of developers' productivity is getting hit. So your job, it's not the developer's job to capture the requirements. It is not the data scientist's job to capture the requirements. It is not the machine learning engineer's job to capture the requirements. It is not the security architect's job to capture the requirements. It is not the sales guy who sells your product to capture the requirements. It is the job of a AI product manager to capture the requirements very clearly from all aspects: security, compliance, product development, go to market, sales, everything has to be captured. Of course, you will not know the technicalities in detail, but your job is to sit with each of the team and capture the requirements, because ultimately the entire product management accountability and the responsibility lies with the AI product manager. As simple as that. All other people were, you are like a conductor in our orchestra. You must have seen orchestras in music, right? Say you say Ilayaraja or somebody, he has a big orchestra and he conducts the music. The individual musicians are not responsible for the overall product. The entire music run, which he conducts a orchestra and then he composes a music. It is so many instruments, so many people are working together. But he has to join all the dots and make it like a song. So imagine yourself as a conductor of orchestra, a music orchestra, somebody like Ilayaraja. So you are end of the day, his name comes into the music because he's the one who designed that. But he needs to work with, he doesn't need to know how to play the flute or the tabla, but he should understand where the tabla has to be played, where do you think the flute has to be played, where the violin has to be played, etc. So your job is exactly like that. So as a product manager, use case discovery is a process that you have to spend a lot of time and capture all the requirements. Now, what else you need to do? Once you capture the requirements, you have to check the feasibility assessment. It's not about capturing the assessment and then you say, okay, let us continue developing or let us continue make or buy, etc. You'll have to look into the feasibility, whether it can be done, whether you have the data, whether you have the compute resources, whether your data center has the information, whether you have enough tools and frameworks and expertise. So all these are part of the feasibility assessment. So first you capture the requirement and then you do a feasibility assessment, whether with your current resources, with the current tools, with the current technology, with the current skill set of your people, whether I can develop this product for my customer. If yes, if you have the data availability, if you have the compute resources, and if you have the technical maturity, both in terms of tools and in terms of processes and in terms of people. Three things are very important. Remember, tools, process, and people. No product in the world will be successful if you don't take all the three together. The tools or the technology, the processes has to be clearly defined in the organization, and the people. People in terms of skill set and mindset has to be ready. If that is not there, then you will not be able to do the feasibility assessment. So it's not about capturing, it's also about feasibility assessment. So what do you do after that? The next step, once your feasibility is done, and assuming that you have done the proper feasibility assessment, the next thing you as a AI product manager has to decide, what is your model selection strategy? Do you want to use a pre-trained model which is already available in the market, like ChatGPT or Gemini, or you want to use a fine-tuned model for your business domain? A ChatGPT is very generic. A Gemini is very generic. A Grok is very generic. A Claude is a very generic foundation model. You may need a very specific foundation model. For example, if you are developing app for say Apollo Hospital, if Apollo Hospital comes to you and says, You are a product manager, AI product manager, develop a app, a AI, Gen AI app for my hospital network. Now there you should not be banking on a generic LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or anything. You will have to pick up a model which is actually trained purely on medical data across the world. And that is far more useful to your doctors, to your practitioners, to your users, and to your medical staff, and even the patients within the hospital. If a patient is using an app, it should give very, very specific medical guidelines, not generic from ChatGPT. So this decision as a product manager, you have to make whether I have to go for a foundation model, whether I have to go for a fine-tuned specific model. In most of the cases, it has to be a fine-tuned specific model that you're going to use. If foundation models and if fine-tuned models are not suitable, which is a very rare case, then you have to go for custom models. Custom model means you need to have the development done in-house within your company with developers, architects, data engineers, etc. This is going to take a lot of time, money, resources. So is your company willing to put in that much of money, resources, and time? Or does your company feel that fine-tuned models are better, which is available in the market? Or if your company is not into this specialized area of, say, medicine, weather, or any of this, then you can use the foundation generic models. Now, you as a AI product manager, you will be banking, the company will bank on you to take this call, whether to use a foundation model, whether to use a fine-tuned model or a specific domain model, or whether to use a custom model. Okay, so this model selection strategy is something which every AI product manager should have it in their skill set. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. So you should know what is the advantage of each. You should know what is the disadvantage of each. You should know what are the merits of each. And you should know what are the demerits of each. What else? And then you need to actually experiment with the frameworks. Whether you want to use something called as A/B testing, compare multiple AI approaches simultaneously. Check 2, 3 models and see which one works for you. User in the loop. Human feedback is very, very important. So you should not always rely on the model's result. Final analysis has to be done by the human being. Let us say the same example you take of Apollo Hospital. Now, you are a AI product manager working for Apollo Hospital. You have used a medical domain, not a foundation model, but a fine-tuned model, which is available in the market. And on top of that, you have developed a product. But you should always say to the Apollo Hospital, the final decision has to be the doctor's decision. The AI system can give advisory. The AI system can give some predictions. The AI systems can give some best practices, or the AI systems can give a very basic level diagnosis. But ultimately, the user in the loop or the human in the loop has to take a final decision. Now, I'll give you a real example that has happened. In Sweden, there was a doctor, a psychiatrist, who was using a fine-tuned model to help him in a psychiatry practice. So one day a patient came to him, and typically the patient said, "Sir, I am suffering from depression and anxiety. Please treat me on this one." The doctor goes to the LLM, the fine-tuned LLM. He submits all the reports, whatever the patient has submitted, or all the medications that he has taken before, which has not solved his problem. He feeds it to the LLM, to the app. It gives a result. The doctor reads that diagnosis. He will not show it to the patient. The patient need not know that. He will take the diagnosis report from multiple reports. It will generate a summary. He will add his experience to it. He will create a treatment plan and he will give it to the patient. That is how it needs to happen. The human in the loop is a final thing. Now, this patient went home and he understood that the doctor used an LLM, but he doesn't know which LLM the doctor has used. But the doctor has used the LLM. He uploaded all the reports to the LLM. It generated a response or a treatment plan based on the symptoms. The doctor added something on that and then he has given. Now, this person was very curious. He goes home, he or she, I don't want to take the gender name here, goes home. He or she goes to ChatGPT or Gemini and he says, I am suffering from depression and anxiety. What should I do? Now, which LLM she has used or he has used, I don't know. Nobody knows that. But you know what the response came from the LLM? The LLM gave a response. The best thing to do if you are suffering from long time depression and anxiety is to commit suicide. Now, that is something very serious. So remember, when you develop a AI product, the human in the loop is the last point or checkpoint of decision that needs to be taken. AI will do 80% of your job. Lot of repetitive, lot of jobs which are mundane, which can be automated, which can be generated, can be done by AI. It saves a lot of time and energy. But ultimately, in life-threatening situations or critical products that you develop, the final authority should be the human in the loop. So you have to experiment with all this. See whether your model is giving proper responses. And then you also run something called as models in shadow mode. What is shadow mode? You run in parallel to the existing system and do all the testing that you want there. Like when I give a question, do you suffer from depression? It should not throw such answers. So all the testing can be done in the shadow mode. What I want to tell you is that experimenting with AI models, experimenting with AI frameworks, experimenting with all the testing, user in the loop, is a very big responsibility for a AI product manager, because if your domain is in healthcare or if your domain is in, say, home ministry or passport, something which are very, very critical, there cannot be any errors in the product. Just because the AI is throwing some wrong answer, it can have a very serious implications. So the security of your AI product, the governance, compliance become very, very, very important. I can't emphasize it further. It's very, very important, and that is something which all of you need to know. So as a AI product manager, you need to be very clear as to what are the frameworks, how should I experiment, what all I have to test, all needs to be done. Then after you do that, then you get into the deployment. Now, what we have done first we have done the discovery. Second, we have done something called as model evaluation. Third, we have done something called as checking the legal guardrails, experimentation frameworks. And finally, you'll have to go for the deployment. And then deployment, you have all this. You run the new models along with production. So all the patching, testing has to be done in the non-production. And you do a canary release. Canary release is gradually you release the features. Don't release all the features at the same time, because you want to see how your people are testing the product, whether all the features are working properly, whether the user testing has been done properly. That is the gradual rollout. Blue-green switch. First you check, do a test. If it is not working feature, you should roll back the feature. You should never have a feature in your product which works partially. You should always have a feature in your product which either works fully or not works. Because any feature working partially is far more dangerous than a feature not working. So if feature is not working, you can take it away. If a feature is partially working, also dangerous, you have to take it away. And then your feature flags. What are feature flags? Toggle flags, on or off. If you get a certain feature on, or if you make a certain feature on in your system, it should behave in the way on of the feature should work. If you toggle and switch it off, so all the things that are dependent on that switch off toggle should be switched off. So what I want to tell you is testing your features in your product. Your features are developed by your developers, but your testing is done by the testing team. But all this has to be managed by your AI product manager. He needs to have the testing plans properly done. He needs to coordinate. He needs to work in symphony with all these guys. Ensure that all the features are tested properly. All the features are working in the way it is working. If it is not, then you'll have trouble. So development strategy is that. Now, after that, you have to do post-launch.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead, Pranati.
Could you explain me the difference between like blue-green switch and feature flags? Both of them were talking about model switchings. I got a little confused there.
Yeah, I'll tell you very clearly. What is a blue-green switch is, okay, for example, you have enabled a feature. Let us say you have Netflix. Okay. In your Netflix or Amazon, till today, there was no Tamil movies as part of the mix. There was all Hindi and English were there, let us say. Now, Netflix has added a new feature in their product that there is another tab called as Tamil movies. Now, when that feature has been released, anybody who uses the Tamil movie feature, all the movies have to be coming in Tamil. It should not be that 3 movies are in Tamil. The 4th movie is also in Tamil, but it is coming as subtitles and not as audio. So what is the problem there? 3 of these particular movies are properly, it's a Tamil movie. The 4th one is also a Tamil movie. Somehow audio is not coming, only the subtitles are coming. So this blue-green switch is, if something is working, it should work everywhere. If something is not working, it should not work everywhere. Now, in this case, in a blue-green switch, you will take back the entire Tamil movie features, correct the 4th movie, ensure you test all the 10 movies, and then you release the product. In other words, if something has to work 100%, if something has 10 components within that, all of them should be working 100%. Or you take all back, remove that particular option, redo that, and then release it. That is the blue-green switch. Complete environment switch with instant rollback. The moment something is not working, you should not say, okay, 4th movie is not working. You can start browsing for 5th movies. Your users will get mad. If you say Tamil movies, all the movies have to be in Tamil. If you go to Telugu, all. If you go to Hindi, if you go to Kannada, all. It has to be simple. You can't have 3 movies, one error, 4th movie. Partially it is audio is coming in Kannada or Tamil. Partially it is not coming into that. What are feature flags? Okay. Let us say one feature is that you want to see the movie in 4K. So you can toggle that. If you have a feature, if you on the feature the 4K, all movies should be there on 4K. It should not be that 3 movies are coming in 4K, the 4th movie is not coming in 4K. Or if you remove the toggle of 4K, all the movies should be in a regular streaming. So that is the feature. Feature is a small change you do, which will affect all the products. The blue-green switches, there is a problem with one particular component. You'll have to roll back everything, correct, and then redeploy all of them. That is the difference between blue-green switch and feature flags. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Okay, now we are at 12. Let's take a 2 minutes break. I'll just have a glass of water and come. You can also reflect and recollect what I have told till now. and then we'll continue another after 2 minutes or so. Okay, I'll just be back in 2 minutes. Okay, so I am back. Let me reshare my screen again, and then we'll continue. So, we are at the developing strategies, deployment strategies for AI. So all these are part of your deployment strategies. Now, what is also important is post-launch optimization. Are you able to hear me? Just a quick check. Anybody can just confirm?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so post-launch quick optimization. It is not enough if you launch the product and your responsibility is done as a product manager. There is a lot of things that you need to understand that even after post-launch, you have to fine tune, you have to do performance tuning, and you have to ensure that the models are actually working well. So your job as a product AI product manager is not just up to release. Post release also, you should continuously take feedbacks from the customer, see if any fine tuning has to be done in your product, see if any feature fine tuning has to be done in your product, any performance related issues are there. All that has to be done as part of that. And also learn from the actions of the user. Your LLM should learn from how the users are using that system. And personalization becomes very important. Whenever you log in, let us say I like to watch a Tamil movie, or I like to watch a Kannada movie or a Telugu movie. The moment I watch one or two movies, next time when I log in, let's say Netflix or Amazon, it should at least show me the available movies of my preference first. So that is personalization. I can still choose something else, but it should at least show me that. So that level of engagement has to be done with the user. Then only the users will stick to your with your product. If you do not have that level of engagement, then the users will not stick with your product. And it should learn. The model should continuously learn from the way the users are actually clicking. If some user wants to watch only sports or only English movies, then the product should have a feature where it captures that. And next time when you are logging in, it should show you the all available sports, etc. With like this, you have to mine the data. Mining the data is extracting insights from the user's behavior, patterns, users' interaction. So using that, what you do is you identify new opportunities and further refinement of your product. Further development of your product will happen if you do all the three. So as a AI product manager, your responsibility lies in ensuring that not only the launching the product, but also post-launch. Then after that, you need to understand the technology stack. Now, it is very important for a AI product manager to understand the technology stack. Now, whether you are going to do all this yourself, deployment, governance, model, data, no. But you should know that your team will be working on these areas. And if your team is working on these areas, you should at least know what is there in the data layer, what is there in the model layer, what is there in the deployment layer, what is there in the governance, because every team will be involved in the product development. I told you, right? From developers, from machine learning engineers, data engineers, and then your security consultants, your infrastructure consultants, and your governance and risk and compliance guys. So that means you should have a very clear idea what is your data layer, what is your model layer, what is your deployment layer, and what is your governance layer. With that, if there is a problem while developing the product, you should at least know whom to ask. So that much of information you should definitely have when you're talking about AI product manager's role. You should at least basically know what is your technology stack should be. Now, you should also know a little bit of the life cycle of the API. Remember, any product which you develop, be it AI product or even traditional products, the products which are developed before AI came into the play. APIs are an important aspect because APIs are the way the components within the product interact. So you should have a proper design of your API, proper documentation, versioning management, data lineage. All the things have to be captured properly. Your product will have multiple components. When your product has multiple components, data is getting continuously interchanged between many components. When data is moving or when data is interchanging between components, the medium of interchange is via API. So therefore, you should know which API is for what is the, you should have a proper documentation of the API, what it does, what it doesn't do, what are the security features that you're putting in the APIs, that should be there. Along with that, you should also have testing and validation. How do you test? How do you validate? How do you monitor? All these are part of your API lifecycle for product managers. Okay. Now, this is a very critical thing because people generally they miss out on these things and they neglect it. But actually, this is a very important part of your product lifecycle development, the AI products particularly. And then you will have to check with the monitoring and analytics as well. What is the usage? See, you should always have a usage tracking of your product. The success of your product. How will you know as a product manager? You should see the usage metrics. How many users are using the product? How long are the users connected to your product? If you're using Netflix or Amazon, they will also have the user analytics. How many users are connected? How long they are connected? Which days they generally connect? What kind of a stuff they watch? What are their viewing habits? Whether it happens in the morning or whether it happens in the night, whether it happens on a holiday, etc. So this will help you to actually analyze your cost and also optimize it. And it will also help in your quality metrics and user feedback. So everything has to be done for your product. So therefore, managing your APIs, generally, the security consultants within your organization manage these APIs. But you, as a product manager, should have a very good idea about what these APIs are, how it works, whether it is documented, whether it is take correct. All this has to be maintained. What else next? Yeah. Two important metrics as a AI product manager, which you need to maintain. Model metrics, product metrics. Because your product is a AI product. The LLM or the model is a very important aspect of your product. So you have to look at different metrics What is the accuracy? F1 scores are nothing but the evaluation criteria. There are some algorithms which you can use to evaluate how your model is performing. How is the latency? If you go to ChatGPT, if you type something, it takes 5 minutes to give your answer. You will stop using it, right? The answer has to be instant. So latency, throughput, token cost per request, how much money is getting spent when somebody gives a query. Because every query you give, internally it has to process. Some GPU has to be used to process that query, extract the data and give you the result. And is your model drifting? Very important thing. What is a model drift? A model, while you use it very frequently, someday or the other it will start deteriorating in terms of performance. So constant performance tuning is important. For example, you have a car. If you do not service your car regularly, with time the performance will go bad. So even though your car is good, the components are good, you still have to do checkup and servicing your car, because with usage there will always be a performance deterioration. So in this case, it is known as model drift. Product metrics is another metrics that a AI product manager has to do. What are the features? What are the feature adoption rates? What features within your product are used by many people? There could be a thing that in your product, let us say you use Netflix as a product. There are some features nobody is using within your product. They are there, they are working, but nobody is using it. Then you as a product manager has to think whether this feature was really needed, because nobody seems to be using it, or very rarely somebody is using it. So you have to take a decision whether to withdraw that particular feature, because it's a cost. New feature development is a cost. Maintaining that feature is a cost. If something goes wrong with that feature, some other feature is getting affected. That also becomes a problem. So every feature release you do, you need to check how the feature is adopted. First of all, you should check how the feature is working. It should work 100%. Secondly, as I told you, it should not be a 50% working feature. Either the feature should completely work, or the feature should not work. And if it's not working, you should remove it. Even if it is half working, you should not say, okay, this feature is half working, let me release it. It's not going to. Your customers will start complaining, and your experience of the customer will not be good for your product. So feature adoption rate, user retention impact, you have to retain the users. Tell me, if you have a Netflix or Amazon Prime account, just before 1 month before your year ends, they will come with some discount and they will say you have to renew your user and all that. So they will try to throw some bargain. They'll give 1 month extra if you take 12 months, So all that user retention you have to say. Trust and satisfaction, very important. When as a product, AI product manager, when you release the product in the market, the feedback from the market is very, very important. That will help you to develop your products better. That will help you to take it back to your team and say, okay, the users are saying this feature is not good. The users are saying this feature is good. The users are saying this feature can be enhanced by adding this, all that thing. Because end of the day, everything is correlated to the business outcome. So if your business outcome is not matching, you will not make the revenue. If you're not making the revenue, that product has no use. End of the day, every company, every product, AI product manager who developing a product, what he is looking for, all the story which I've told you, what is he looking for is, end of the day, it should be useful to the users. The users be continuously using the product. They should share their feedback. They should give some improvement suggestions, and people should not leave your product and go. only then your business outcomes will be met. Only then you will make the dollars. Otherwise, your product is just a time pass. It will be very clear. So if you don't do this, your product will not be survive in the market. Okay, what else you have to do? So how do you actually do the product management? You have to do rapid prototyping. Please do not develop a product which has a 6 months runway and you don't do a agile method of releasing the product. You release only product after 6 months. After 6 months, you see a lot of water has flown under the bridge. Your competitors have taken over. This product has no value in the market. Therefore, the product has to be released at regular times with limited features. Test it in the market, how the users are giving feedback. So rapid prototyping becomes very, very important. It should be aligned with cross-functional teams. So it should be a shared success metric. If you say only product manager will take the credit, none of your team members will actually work on that product. Or even if they work, they will have a lot of cross purposes. So always remember, your success as a product manager depends on how well sorry, you take the team together, how well you work as a team, and it is a shared success. Of course, sometimes during the product development, you need a support from your executive sponsor, your vice president or your managing director should be able to help you because he's the sponsor for that product. So in case there are some organization level bottlenecks, or in case you need some new resources or you want to hire some new resources, stuff like that. So you need the executive sponsorship. So rapid prototyping, cross-functional alignment, and executive sponsorship is a very important aspect of a AI product manager. And also you should have governance, very important. After you deploy your product, after your product has gone into the market, you should also have a compliant. No product people will buy if it is not compliant in the market. I am part of many CEOs reach out to me for their AI product development. I keep telling them, you can have a very good product, but if it is not compliant with the standards of the country or standard of that industry, nobody will buy the product. So I am part of many of the advisor to many AI products. So when we discuss there with customers, I keep the customer. Sometimes one of the customers, his customer gave a very blunt reply. I don't care what kind of security you have. That is your internal headache. Is it compliant? Can I use this product in Europe? So there's a level of discourse that happens. It's not about having all the features, having foolproof security, developing a very good user interface and all that. All that are important. I'm not saying they are not important. Features have to work very well. Feature flags have to work. Toggle buttons have to work. It should be very good to use. Colors should be very good, easy to use interface. But if it is not compliant to be sold in that market, nobody will buy your product. So AI as a AI product manager, the AI governance become very, very important. Strategic oversight, risk management, compliance standards, operational controls. You will have to define all this within your organization because when you release the product, the first thing people will ask is it compliant? I am not even talking about Netflix. Netflix is the entertainment app. Your users will not really ask for compliance, but if India Netflix is operating, they have to be compliant for some Indian rules. So that compliance becomes very, so either compliance is driven by the user or the compliance comes from the legal place where it is run. Europe has its own compliance. India has its own compliance. Australia has its own compliance. If it's a multinational product. If your product is released across all nations across the world, then your product should be compliant to all the compliances, because Europe has its own, US has its own, India has its own. So it has to be compliant for all of them. Very important aspect of a AI product manager. Then privacy, this is a very important thing. You are using customers' data in your app. Customer is putting his data into the app. Privacy of the data is very important. If your product is being used by a user, if your product is used by a customer, if your user comes to know that your data has been compromised, he will fire at you. And then there will be penalties, there will be reputation damage and whatnot. So encryption has to be done, privacy has to be maintained. You have to train the model without sensitive data. The models has to be encrypted. Sorry, the data has to be encrypted. The data has to be anonymized. Only then the models can work on the data. And people should not breach your app and extract the data. Even though you have so much security, even though you have so much things, still you must have seen in newspapers and everywhere, right? Or in the social media, some particular website has been breached, some company has been breached, some credit card information has been breached. Security becomes very important. Privacy has to be preserved. Your customer is trusting your app. Your customer is trusting your product. So you have to assure the customer about the privacy related stuff. Because if you don't do that, and if something happens, if a data breach happens, then you are in trouble. So very, very important on the privacy and encryption. Scaling becomes another important aspect. Today, your app is very good. It is supporting 500 users very easily. Tomorrow, your app has become very popular. Now, suddenly 10,000, 20,000 users are connected. You remember while COVID days, Amazon and Netflix had too much of hits because everybody was at home and then they were watching TV, nothing to do. So will your app support sudden burst of users? Or sometimes you have something called as a, I don't know whether you're aware of it in US and all, you have this year-end sales and you have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Thanksgiving sale. So during those kind of a sales, if you are a retail app, your system should be able to take the spike in the number of users and it should not have performance issues. So scaling is also another important aspect of a AI product manager. When the user spikes, your system should not hang. When the user spike goes down, it should not have any problem. Performance should be very well. So evaluate the societal and economic impacts. Include diverse voices for development. So it's very important. Remember, when your success as a AI product manager depends a lot on how you take people's opinions within your team. Your product lead, your data scientist, your machine learning engineer, your developer, your security architect, your compliance lead, your sales guy. You have to take everybody's opinion. You have to take everybody's feedback. And all that has to be incorporated in your product development lifecycle so that they are all experts in their own way. So you just have to, so it's a shared success for all of them, including you. The success is not only you, the failure is not only you. Yeah, of course, failure will always come on the AI product manager, but success is everybody's credit. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the role, I have been explaining for the last 1.5 hours. Now you understand the depth as well as the width of the role of a AI product manager. So you need to be good at technology, you need to be good at business, and you need to be good at people management. So you should as I told you, technical fluency is very important. Expertise not required. Fluency definitely required. Otherwise, you will not survive. because you can't run your product. How will, if you don't understand what is a model, if you don't understand what is data, if you don't understand what is built by, if you don't understand what is scaling, if you don't understand what is features, if you don't understand what are feature flags, if you don't understand what is privacy, if you don't understand what is security, how are you going to run a product lifecycle? You should understand the subscription models, how to generate revenue. So for all this, you should have a technology knowledge, you should have business knowledge, and of course, you should have a people management. You should know how to handle people. You should know how to work as a team. You should know how to, manage conflicts. Obviously, when 100 people are working, there'll be conflicts. It may not be something deliberate, but during the product development, some team is under pressure, somebody is under pressure. So you'll have to manage. Somebody's time is going away. He has to develop. Somebody is waiting on some other team to complete his task. All these are very, very important part as part of your AI product. So I have given you a complete 360-degree view of what this role of AI product manager is all about. So now you understand the scale, the scope, and the level of knowledge you need to have to be a successful product manager, AI product manager. Now, it is a every day is a learning day for us. It's not like today you've got a job as a AI product manager, so then no. You learn new things, you develop new things, you understand new things. It's a continuous process, but there has to be a baseline. There has to be a baseline of knowledge which you need to have. If you do not have that baseline, then you will not be successful as a AI product manager. So my idea here was to give a solid baseline in the last 1.5 hours so that you understand what this role is, what needs to be done, what should be done, and what all are part of this particular role. Okay, so with that, I will stop. I am open for questions now for the next half an hour. Feel free, we have around 50 people, so feel free to ask. I think we should be able to answer at least 8 or 10 questions. Let us see how much we can. Feel free to ask, and I am willing to answer that. Yeah, over to you. I'll just 1 minute, I'll just stop sharing so that then you can. All right. Yes, Priyansh, go ahead. What is your question?
Sir, basically, in one slide, you told that model drifts happen. So, as much as you use the model, gets weird out, right?
Yeah.
But sir, on the other hand, when we say that when the more we use, the more AI learns. So, how does that means contradict? I'm a bit confused on that.
Yeah. So here is the thing. Let me give an example. When you drove car for the first time, you had a little trouble. Okay. As you continue driving the car, you become better. So that is self-learning. But if you're physically, mentally on that day, you're having fever, your skill has not gone of driving. But don't you think your performance on that day while driving a car deteriorates? Yes or no?
Yes,
Because
yes,
your body, mind is, see, you didn't sleep for the whole night. You may be a very good driver. Your driving skill is intact because you got better. But on that day, for some reason, whole night you didn't sleep, you had fever. But next day morning you have to drive. Your driving skill is not a problem, but overall your system, your performance, you will not give a good feeling while driving. Some pain here, some pain there, kind of thing. So similarly, a model, the learning is not impacted. What is impacted is performance. What takes 1 minute to give you the answer, it is now taking 4 minutes. That is what is performance drift.
got it. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Anybody has any other questions? Feel free to ask. This is your webinar, not mine.
Hi Ram, this is
Yeah.
Deepak here. So
Deepak, tell me.
I would like this particular role was completely new for me. I'm
Hmm.
just here for learning. So can you suggest me a career path on this aspect,
Okay. So
like
if
where to
you,
come from
ha,
and
good question. So there are three things you need to do. Now the people part you will anyway learn by time. There is nothing to teach you there. So what you'll have to learn is the technical part. So what you have to do essentially, you need to understand first, you need to understand the basics of large language models, how AI is, how the models work, the entire life cycle, which we call it as LLM ops, large language model operations, right from how to select a model, how to train a model, how to build a model. Once you learn the LLM ops, then you'll have to learn something called as AI security, because every product manager has to understand the AI security. What are the security guidelines, guardrails? What are the security testing that needs to be done? So LLM ops first, AI security next, and the business aspect will come about the product management. Like what I have told you now, this has to go in detail. I talked about subscription models for 7 minutes, but subscription models itself is a 1 day course. There are so many different types of subscription. So if I take it as a percentage terms, you have to have 70% technical and 30% business, meaning LLM ops, AI security and governance, GRC a bit, and then the business aspect. That is the product development management aspect. If you do these three things, then you are ready for this particular role, or at least you will be successful in this role. If you have only one, then it is very difficult for you to succeed. This is a bare minimum.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah, go ahead, Priyansh.
Sir, also we talked about foundation models, fine-tuned and custom models, right?
Correct.
So you said that most of the cases fine-tuned models are used.
Correct.
Uh, so I wanted to know, like, what if we work in some domain where
Hmm.
fine-tuned models are not available? So instead of building a custom model, can we use some pre-existing model and fine-tune it? So is there a way to
Yes,
do that?
yes. Yes, yes. Wonderful. Good question. Yes, you can do that. That's why I told you, you have to use either these three or a combination of that three also. You remember when I was talking about that, I said you can use one of them, two of them, or a
Yes.
combination of them. So the the combination of them is precisely because there is no domain available, you use a generic model. On top of that, you train that model using RAG. You must have heard of this term too long, too much. RAG is known as retrieval, augment, and generate. So using a
Okay.
vector database, you can take a live data, you can feed the live data, and then you can use the already trained model with that live data and retrain that and make it as good as your what you call a fine-tuned model. That's a continuous process, but that has to happen continuously. It can't be a point of time. Remember that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, sir, is it something like the Google AI Studio?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so, sir, can you just give me a brief walkthrough, like how do we start or how do we do? As some example, if possible.
Okay. Let us take you're a AI product manager and you have developed a product for weather. Okay. So
Okay.
you are in US and in California, there's a lot of, suddenly, I don't know whether how many of you, if you go to Chicago or California, the weather changes in no time. It's hot and suddenly it will start raining heavily, or suddenly the weather changes, or there is a forest fire. So now you as a product manager, your company is developing an app for all those people who go to office every day in the morning. So this product, when you sit in the car, this product is also fed into your car, this one, the dashboard, and you can see the app. Now this app is stored on historical data. This app will not be successful or a hit because historical weather data can give only the trends. But if you don't have the live weather data incorporated in the app, it
Yes.
will not give you point of time. See, weather data has to be live and point of time.
Yes.
It is no use having. Acha, the other way is also true. If you just have the current weather data, if you don't have historical data and patterns, you may sometimes give inaccurate predictions. You may say that it may rain, but actually it didn't rain there.
Yes.
So the best way to develop the app is take the historical data, like in September, it rains in California. It's a general this one. So last 10 years, it's been raining like that. So if a
Yes.
rain cloud is coming, So you know pretty much the app can say that for sure, boss, it will rain. You feel as if, "Arey, app is told for sure it happened," but actually not. What the app is doing is it's taking the learnings from the last 10 years of data. It generated some insights. It married it to the actual weather data that is coming at that point of time, and it gave you the
Yes,
best case scenario. That's how it works.
got it. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Yes, Saurabh, go ahead. Yes, Saurabh, go ahead.
Yeah, am
You
I
are in.
audible?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, Saurabh, go
So
ahead.
yeah. So my question is, so let's say we have a ChatGPT API or a
Mm,
Claude API
mhm.
versus any open source LLM like Llama and all, right?
Okay.
So regarding privacy reasons, like what should we choose and when should we choose? Because there is always a debate between directly using APIs for inferencing rather than
Yeah.
open source. So
Good question. Good question. So this requires a little bit of a deep answer. So here is the thing. It is a trade-off that you need to take as an organization. For you, is performance important or privacy or both? If privacy and performance are important, which is more priority for you? Is it privacy or is it performance? Okay, I'll give an example. All of you must have heard of DeepSeek, right? Yes. Can somebody say yes or no?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Now,
yes.
Yeah.
correct. Now, if you have DeepSeek, everybody was using DeepSeek, but the data was getting stored in the Chinese servers because you're using the API, you are connected to the DeepSeek LLM. The data was getting stored in the Chinese servers. Now you have a issue now. The DeepSeek performance is very good. It is giving very good response, but I don't want my data to be stored in Chinese servers. What do you do here? You have to decide which LLM you want to use. There are two ways for the same DeepSeek. Now, if you are locally downloading the DeepSeek on your local system and using it, then the data will not be stored in the Chinese data center. It will be stored locally on your laptop. What is the trade-off here? The trade-off is you have downloaded the model locally and you are using it. Your privacy is taken care of. But the model is always point of time. There are no fresh updates to the model. So every time the model is changing, you have to download the model and use it. So this is a trade-off between privacy. If you want to run it locally, then privacy is not a problem. If you want to run it directly, then performance will be good, but privacy is a problem. What is the other way around? One is you access directly using API. Second is you locally download and use it. Third is you use any of these hyperscalers like AWS, OCI, Azure, all this cloud. What happens there? If you're accessing DeepSeek from Azure, if you're accessing DeepSeek from OCI, if you're accessing DeepSeek from, say, AWS, you can use the latest updated model, but the data will not be stored in the Chinese servers. The data will be stored in the AWS or the Azure servers where the data center is there. So these are the three combinations in which you can use. It is your choice, your organizing choice. How much privacy versus how much performance, how much privacy versus how much is the ease of use. This is how you need to take a call. I've given you all the three scenarios.
Yeah, just adding on that. So, like recently, many of the companies like Microsoft and all have given their co-pilots integrated within their,
Correct.
let's say, Databricks and all, right? So they
Correct.
have access to all the databases. So can we still rely on them that, so that our
Yes.
private data is
Yes,
okay?
yes, because it is true. See, rely in the sense, see, it's very funny. Rely in the sense you are storing in the US servers. So you are thinking that they are safe. Now, how safe it is, nobody knows, right? If somebody breaches, then it's gone. But people feel that storing in US servers is better than storing in the Chinese servers. So
That is our
that's how,
mindset only, I believe,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we are
correct.
more positive towards the US and every
Yeah,
country is very negative towards the
correct.
China.
So yeah, technically what happens is that it is still, if somebody breaches any system, right, it is actionable. So we are trusting somebody who you feel, it's like you remember that if you buy a car, if you are buying a car, you'll go with a branded showroom only.
Yeah.
There is only worst case, you will go to a second hand, some, what is that, those second hand car dekho or whatever that is. So there is a trade-off. You get it at a lower price, but you don't know how good that car is. But if you go to a showroom and buy a one, it's on a higher price, but it has its own higher price, but it is in a good shape. But does it happen that even if you buy in a best showroom, sometimes car fail, right? That can also
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But
it's a
Ram, I think everything is depend on the one man today. Whatever he decide, he comes and then he speak and then everything just crash or everything
Yeah,
just move up. So there is only
yeah,
one guy who is just managing the whole world nowadays.
correct. On the Solus, yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Anybody has any questions? Yeah,
Yes.
Priyansh, yeah.
So, sir, you mentioned that, like from Saurabh's question, uh, like you said that if you download a model,
Hmm.
privacy would be taken care of. So
Taken care
I
in
was
the
like,
sense privacy will be in your system, local system. If somebody breaches your local system, that is also gone. Yeah.
yeah, okay, got it. So, most on that only, like, uh, I wanted to know that how secure is even it how secure even it is on the private system. Like, if I
Yeah.
download a model, I have used
Yeah.
LLMs,
Correct.
so
Yeah. I
even
mean,
without
see.
breaching.
Yeah. Correct. So it's still see. Can tell me all of you this question? Can there be 100% security in the world? No, it is
So
only
that's a myth.
probability. Yeah, it's a probability. See, you increase the probability and you say my system is almost secure. Nobody can say my system is 100% secure. You must have seen, right? A lot of security will be there. Still, some person gets assassinated in the world. Last 50, 60 years we have seen, right?
Yes.
So there is the 100% security is a myth. Only thing is you have to trade off and see which one works for you, which one you can accept it. See, it's all about risk acceptance. How much risk can you accept to the reward? Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Cicely. Yeah, if I pronounce your name right, Cicely, right?
Yeah, Cecily, yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I am new in this field. I want to know how to identify a proper or correct fine-tuned model for our application.
Yeah, so you'll have to do a little bit of a research. Have you gone to a website called Hugging Face anytime? I would strongly urge you to go to that website. It is a model garden. A lot of models and what those models do are in detail given there. So you
Yeah,
can pick and
what's
choose.
this called? Hugging Face.
Yeah, I'll just put it in the chat. You can, 1 minute. Yeah, go to this Hugging Face AI and you can see it's a model garden where all the model, it's like a car showroom, all the cars are there. So you go test drive and you can see which one you want. It has got descriptions, etc. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody has any questions further?
Yeah, Ram, Deepak here again. So I'm completely a fresher, you can say, in terms of AI.
Hmm.
So I was looking for a more basic and updated career path which I can follow to be able to be a part of this AI world
Hmm.
in the upcoming future.
Correct.
So where shall I start? Like as a beginner?
S- So I told you, right? You have to learn the LLM ops first, and then AI security, and then product management. That's how should be your progression.
Okay. So would it like is LLM ops will be a good approach for a beginner, complete
Oh,
beginner?
absolutely. That's where it starts. That is the basic. You have
Okay.
to start. You have to start with how this animal behaves, right? You have to see if you want to master some animal, you need to know the animal shape, size, behavior, etc. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you want to tame. So if you want to tame GenAI, you have to understand what is GenAI, how it works, how it's configured, what needs to be done, what should not be done, all that. So the LLM ops will give you a very good understanding of how this, what is the potential of GenAI, how it works, etc. Once you get that fundamental right, then you get into the security aspect, because security and privacy are very important. And then of course, governance and risk, GRC. And finally, the management understanding of product management, which I have told you how important is, what are the aspects. So if you get these three levels, if you do, then you will be in good shape.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else has questions?
Yeah, Ram, how long it will take means to become familiar with this? If I like Deepak is new, me also new in this field. Means if
Okay.
we try to become a
Yeah.
AI
So
specialist, you can
okay,
say.
I'll tell you. Don't try to make yourself some becoming or something. What you do is you learn these three. I recommend it.
Uh,
You should be able to do it in 2.5 or 3 months time. If you put in
only
at least 5 or 6, yeah, 5 or 6 hours,
on
two
daily
and a half or
basis.
3 months, yeah, 5 or 6 hours a day,
So
2.5 or 3 months, you should be able to do that. But this is something you need to keep fine tuning and learning. But the foundations will be set, because you know, right? Everything things are changing. So,
right.
but you can't keep up with those everyday things. What you have to do is you have to have one beta, one baseline, and from there you will have to start. Then it becomes easy. The initial 3 4 months will be tough, because you are building the foundation, right? Once you build it,
Yeah.
whatever new thing comes, you can easily learn, right?
Yeah. Any reference from where means we can start as a beginner?
Okay, that will take it offline.
Okay.
Then we'll take, yeah, Priyansh, yeah, anything? Yeah, anybody has any questions?
Yes, sir. So you mentioned about training models. So training models is like what I believe is somewhere has to do something with prompting models, right?
Prompting
So
is one part of training models.
yeah. So sir, can you suggest some resources, something where which tell us how to
Huh.
write accurate prompts to get the results we want?
Okay. So what I will do after this session, I will send it to Ram, one PDF. He can share it with you guys as to what is the, see, there is no one best way to write, but I'll share you one from Google Gemini, which is very good, and he can share it to all of you across. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ram, I have one question.
Yeah.
If you download a model and then use it,
Hmm.
and then you update it every day or two,
Hmm.
you're not compromising on the privacy or security, right? So is that a good way to go about it?
Yeah, you are not compromised. It's a good way to go. But you will not have updated information if the model is getting updated from the source maker, right? Some changes have to be done, some updates are happening, some bugs are getting resolved by the model owner. That you will not get, because every time you have to download. And if you download, what happens? All the old learnings that you have put it, that will go.
So when you download all the learning that you have done, that will also be gone.
No,
So
no,
you are
not when you, no, not when you download. When you download and replace with another copy later. So that will go.
so is it possible to just get the incremental things when you download,
No,
or do
no,
you
no, that's
always
not.
have to download fully?
Yes, yes, you have to download fully.
So that means whatever learning you have done will be lost when you
Correct,
replace.
correct. So that's it. That's why I said it's a trade-off.
Okay, that's not a good
Yeah,
solution then. Yeah.
yeah. No, no. What happens is some people would like to use it for some demo or learning purpose. Right? It's good for them. Or if you want to do a POC or some small thing, then it is good. See, it's all about use base. It's a real world. It may not be useful.
Yeah.
So then in that case, you can use a cloud-based thing, right? You can connect to the model via cloud, but then
Right.
you have to pay to the cloud vendor. So each
Yeah.
one has its own plus or minus. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Anything
Yeah.
else?
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
So sir, you mentioned about like to not have a trade-off, we use AWS services or anything
Hmm.
which updates the model and secure data is also not stored anywhere else
Correct.
on the Chinese servers at least. So
Yeah.
Can we how does that process work? Can we build something kind of that for our own as well? Is this
No,
possible?
no,
Like,
no, no. That's not how you have to build the country entire cloud infrastructure. How you are going to build it?
yeah, okay, got
That
it.
is, if you are building a cloud infrastructure, then you will become another AWS or Microsoft. Think about it. So that is
Got it.
going to be a big work. Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
can you explain me the process? Like in short, like how do they do it?
They
Like
meaning?
how do they prevent it from getting to the Chinese servers or something like
Yes, yeah, it's not preventing. What they do is they actually have something called as a replication. They set up a replication from their virtual private network in the cloud to the DeepSeek server, and then they replicate the data. So that way the data gets stored here, but the updates will come directly to the cloud.
that? Okay, got it. Thank you.
Between AWS and the DeepSeek servers, they establish a separate VPN, VPC. VPC is known as Virtual Private Cloud. So then it will have a VPN connect, and through the VPN in a secure way, the data is getting replicated and transferred. So you must, I don't know whether you heard of tenancy. There is something called as cloud tenancy, where one part of the cloud is very secure, segmented network, very strong, has a VPN connection, and then the replication of the data happens. So that's a lot of work from the cloud security perspective. So
Got it.
if you are into cloud security, let us say you are working for AWS or Azure, they will be doing all all this as part of their work.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, one question, Ram, from my side.
Hmm.
So, how do you see the future of RAG as the context windows increases? So,
Yeah,
let's say after a few years, context window will be much more than the current
correct.
window. So, do you
Very
see
good.
if still RAG will exist?
Yeah. See, very good question. So what is going to happen is that RAG will also evolve. The context window is going to become bigger and bigger. RAG will also evolve. So it is anybody's guess what is going to happen in future. I don't know whether you heard of this. Now we have something called as graph RAG. Graphs are being used on the RAG to not only develop the result, but also look at the context and the relationship. So the RAG technology is also changing. As the context window is increasing, the RAG is also going through transformation. So now you have graph RAGs, agentic RAGs. So even this journey is happening. So it's anybody guess what is going to happen in 2 years down the line. But the RAG is not the RAG what you talked about 1 year back. Now you have graph RAG, agentic RAGs. So new innovations are happening in the RAG space as well. So it's anybody's guess how that is going to go. Maybe I would feel with increased context window and with graph RAG or agentic RAG, you'll have best of both the worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically there will be some retrieval mechanism existing
Oh,
throughout.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. See,
Okay. And
fundamentally,
as
oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, it's in different context. You can continue.
So fundamentally, RAG is also undergoing changes, but the fundamental RAG thing will be there. Its name may change, it may get an upgrade, or it may change its behavior. But because current data is also required, right? As I told you, the example of the weather app along with the static data. So that is something which is required. So it will be there. In what form? Don't know, but
Yeah, right. So, yeah, and another question was like, since no one is developing their own foundational model nowadays, right? So there will
correct.
be some, so most of them are using direct inferencing APIs or similar to RAG, basically enhancement over the foundational model. And nowadays MCP, the like APIs wrapper also coming, right?
Correct.
From the
Correct.
company itself, right? So
Correct.
as going down the line, so what basically AI engineers or ML engineers, those kind of people will do since this kind of merge into software development itself.
Yeah, correct. But they are going to take care of agentic RAG and all that. Sorry, in the sense that they need to look into architecture of RAG, AI security, agentic security, RAG security, threat modeling, all this new kind of roles will keep coming up. So even managing the security of agents become important, of MCPs become very important. Okay, so we are on the top of the hour. I have another call coming up at 1:30. So we'll stop at sharp 1 o'clock. Another 2-3 minutes are there. Anybody has one last question? Otherwise, we can sign off. We have time for another one question. If anybody has, we can.
Raman, is there any way that we can connect offline? Like,
Yeah, you can connect to me. You can connect to me on my LinkedIn. Mine, if you want, I will just share my LinkedIn to everybody. You can connect to me.
Yeah, sure.
1 minute. Yeah, give me a minute. I'll just share the URL. This is my LinkedIn ID. I have put it here. You can reach out to me on this. Okay. All right. All the best to all of you. And thank you very much. And I hope you had a good time, good clarity on all your queries and stuff like that. So let's catch up some other time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.